Hey, it's Keith.
Oh, hi, Keith.
Hey, are you busy?
No?
Do you want to do our dumb podcast idea?
Okay, let me go down and get the other telephone, though, because this one has no power in it.
Sure.
Second. Okay.
Man, this is going to be, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, I got this kind of weird setup because I have to put my recorder on top of the phone, and then I'm listening through my headphones, but I have the earpiece next to the recorder, so it records what you're saying. It's weird. It's a weird setup.
I'll take your word for it. I can hear you.
Yeah, and it's going to sound so bad. I think that could be kind of neat about this too, is just the different weird phones that I'm at. So I'm at the Dufferin Mall right now, and there's this one door next to me that is so loud every time people go through it. I'm gonna have to, when I'm editing this, someone just opened it. Here, listen, see if you can hear it. Here it comes.
Yeah, I can't hear it.
So that'll be a good excuse to keep this short. But yeah, because you were saying in an email, I guess if you think that's a good idea, I don't know who would ever even want to listen to this, but I think that's what's neat about the internet now, is you can just make boutique podcasts, just weird random stuff that, who knows, maybe no one will listen, maybe it is just the worst idea. But, I don't know, maybe somebody likes this for some reason or something. I don't know.
Okay, well, let's go for it.
And really, I guess that's the other thing, is it's just a good excuse to do stuff. That show, Vinyl Countdown, that you and Dad were on when you visited, that was just our excuse to hang out together, I think we have had, 300 listeners ever. But if we didn't have that show, that's we did 200 episodes, so that's 200 times we wouldn't have hung out or whatever. So, it's just an extra little reason. It's oh, well, I have to.
Yeah, good reason to get together and socialize.
Yeah, and then with this case, it's well, I have to call home because, I got to do the podcast. It's it's dumb, but, obviously, from all these years of me living away that, I just don't call home. It just takes months. So.
Well, we're not a real social family like that anyway. There are people who have a set routine. You've got a phone once a week, or if you're going somewhere, you got to see where you are, and then you call before you go. You call when you get there, but we've never kind of been that.
Yeah, it was kind of. Yeah, because then there's the other side of it where my friend Mike is Italian, and he's got the classic Italian family. When I first met him, man, anytime his phone rang, I just knew it was his mom, all the time. And I feel that's settled down a little. But I don't know, maybe there's a happy middle. Who knows? I don't know.
Well, maybe with your podcast, we'll strike the happy middle.
Yeah, and I started doing they kind of go together. I started these both at the same time. I just did the other day the first episode of I've set up to start babysitting Joel's kids more often, a more regular schedule. So I just interviewed them for 10 minutes, and it's just weird nonsense babble from a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. But again, it's just, if I'm going to be babysitting anyway, I think that's a neat thing. And then it'll if I do it for the whole for a year, that'll be really cool to hear them talk different at the end of it, and
it'll be something that their parents will really enjoy as years come and go, and they go back and listen to that, what their little guys were saying when they were little. Well, they're telling their mom and dad, when they're teenagers,
yeah.
They can go back and say, oh, weren't they sweet little things?
It's funny.
Little things they said.
It's funny too, yeah. Just the sort of strange logic. Man, I can't. I will never call again from this location. This is ridiculous. People just are constantly going through these doors, and it's so noisy and horrible. But yeah, one of the things that one of the kids said was they've got this kind of pathology about phones because their mom won't let them use phones at all, but every grown-up has a phone, and every grown-up is always looking at their phone. So these kids are fascinated by phones. So I let the kid play with my phone for a little bit, a big treat. And I asked him, hey, how come you don't have a phone? And he's because I don't have pockets. You need to have a pocket or you can't have a phone.
Oh, isn't that cute?
Yeah, just these weird little, or the same kid, the 2-year-old, he tore a cover off of a coloring book or something. And when his brother was hey, why'd you tear up that book? He's because I can't read yet. It was a coloring book anyway, there's nothing to read. But to him, he's I don't care about books. Books can go to hell. So yeah, I think that'll be kind of cool.
They sound like they're quite bright little fellas.
Yeah, definitely. Although it's one of those weird cases where the older one, the 4-year-old, like he's going to school and he's really not fitting in. It's with school, and it's like it's hard to, like, I don't know, because on the one hand I can kind of see why he doesn't fit in. He's a real weirdo. He's like a real weird little kid. But on the other hand, like who fits into school? Like, I hated school. School is terrible. Like, you kind of shouldn't.
Right, Dad. He's only 4 years old. I really think that 4 years old is too young to be putting them in that system.
Yeah.
Bad enough when you're older you got to fit in, but when you're 4,
Yeah.
of course everybody else is only 4 too. But
Yeah, no, it's still, definitely a weird thing. But yeah, I was also thinking, like, that's one reason why I set up that going to babysit more often, and like, oh, this might be a neat thing to do. Is, man, living by myself, God, it's fucking terrible. like I haven't lived by myself since I first moved to Vancouver, so it's been like 10 years. And, back then, I guess I was just doing it because I don't know if you ever got the whole story about that Vancouver thing, but how Matt and his brother and Cody, like all those guys that lived in that house on Saunders Street, we were all going to move to the West Coast. But they were going to...
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, they were going to go to Dawson City because they'd been there before to do gold mining. So I was just going to go hang out or something. And then that fell through for all of them, and I decided to move anyway. But yeah, like, I kind of forgot, because it's been 10 years, like, how much those first, like, 2 or 3 months of just living by myself and not knowing anybody, like, it's like solitary confinement, Like, that's why they do that in prison, because it's terrible. And I forgot how bad that is. And now that I'm back in Toronto, and I'm, like I told you, I'm like way in the outskirts at the end of the subway line and just living by myself. And I guess it was like last week or 2 weeks back now, usually I have stuff to do and I just go meet people and hang out, but just by whatever weird circumstance, I think I didn't see anybody for like 6 straight days. And I was like, whoa, this can't happen anymore. This is the worst. Like, this is just terrible. So that's where I'm starting to try to set up stuff. Well, my idea was volunteer stuff. I was like, oh, that might be cool. Just try different stuff, see different aspects of the world. And then it occurred to me, like, well, before I do that, I'm still going to look into it. But why not volunteer with Joel and his kids and his family, because they're all going mental. Like, I mean that in the nicest way, but like, as soon as I pitched this idea to his wife, she was like, oh, that's the best, because like, all I do is hang out with these kids all the time. Like, I can't anymore.
She feels like she's in solitary confinement, but she's tied in with two babies.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not quite the same, but still, yeah, there's a limited amount of human interaction going on there. So, yeah, and that's when I thought of this, too, is like, yeah, even if I just had something, like, I don't know, is Monday a good day? Is there a day we should set up or something?
Wednesdays are not good. Mondays, usually I'm home on most Mondays, yeah.
And I
I'm
guess...
kicking around here, but I'm not home till, like, usually I'm home about maybe 6:30 or 7, but tonight I got kind of tied up a bit, so... And
it's an hour later there, right? So it's like 8 o'clock there, just to be clear?
Yeah, 7:45 or... It was 7:30 when you phoned.
Right.
However much time has passed, I don't have a clock.
And it's 6:30 here for me. Yeah, just trying to remember how the time works. So it's an hour forward.
Yeah, we're an hour ahead of you.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think I have. Yeah, I mean, let's aim for that then. And if it's not good, just let me know for whatever reason. But just so I have some kind of, just again, like the structure, just to kind of make myself do it and stuff. Oh man, I'm starting to get this thing. I mean, I have like a lot of sound sensitivity issues anyway. Like, I sleep with earplugs in every night and stuff. But every time I see people walk through these doors, I'm starting to get mad at them. Like, don't you know I'm trying to do a podcast with my mom from the Duff Mall?
Come to the mall. Holy fudge, get the hell home.
Yeah, like, this is clearly just a real weird thing. But yeah, I just happened to be here because Brad is out of town for the week. His company sent him to the States, so he gave me his bus card, so I can just bus around wherever I want. So that's why I'm at this weird mall. I won't usually be here.
Well, you should look into finding a roommate that you can share some accommodation with.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's like a weird thing because it was tough to just find this one place that I've got. So I mean, I'm just kind of glad that I have it to begin with. And before, it was all just like so weird, where there was that one place I had that burned down instantly. I lived there for like a month. And then I slept on that girl's couch for a year, and then it was just like lucky that my friend Craig had a space open for a new roommate. But they've all drifted away. All that I still know all those guys, but they all live with girlfriends now. So So yeah, I don't know. It's like a little bit weird. It's a little tough in this society to do communal anything. I don't know how quite. But that's where I was thinking too about like the volunteering thing is just another excuse just to meet people, and just meet other people, and then things will just theoretically naturally occur, from there.
There's always lots of places to volunteer. All you usually have to do is just make people know you're available.
Yeah.
And then you're just flooded.
Yeah, I think like that might be a neat idea too. Like I could do like the volunteer cast where I like just volunteer at different places and just record a little podcast about it and like what it was like or something. Like I think that actually might be interesting. That might be like not that this isn't super interesting, but like a podcast people might see that and go like, oh, I'll listen to that. That's a neat idea.
So what is around where you live that would be volunteerable?
I mean, probably nothing, but I mean, I really
MBTAs, that kind of stuff.
I don't around my actual neighborhood. I don't know, probably nothing. But I mean, it's okay. Like I'll just get on the train and go wherever I gotta go. Like I'm right by the train, so that's okay. Yeah, and I mean, clearly, again, this is like the leitmotif of my life. It's like, well, I mean, obviously getting a job would be part of all this, but again, I just don't know. Like, if all I can think of is like coffee shops and grocery stores, like it's just such a waste of time. And then that still doesn't really help. Except that I'll be hanging out with people that work at a grocery store, Like that's what I was thinking with the volunteer thing, because I was thinking about old folks' homes. Like that's what always comes to mind for me first, because it's so sad and creepy how people just get left at old folks' homes and no one cares about them. So I started looking into that, and like that's what's so cool about the internet age is like I just looked up on YouTube about like old folks' homes and working at retirement homes, and I found all these video blogs by nurses, like male and female nurses, just talking about their lives. Like they have this whole little community, and it seemed way too intense. It's like a couple of years at least of school, and then being a nurse is like you got to look out for skin tears and all these weird problems people have, and it sounds really awful and stressful. But then they were like, but hey, if you just volunteer, all you got to do is just hang out and like talk to people for a little bit and then go home.
Go and read and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that's what
One thing I found when you're in professions, which is why with law I've liked this law thing, because you don't have to hang out with lawyers if you don't want to.
Right.
But when I was teaching school, the teachers all hung out together, and when you get and they always had all kinds of get-togethers, like let's have go out and play baseball or golf or curl, and then they might have house parties. And what I found about it is that all they did was talk about school, and all they did was talk about kids,
right.
The kids in the school, and I thought, God, there's got to be more to life than this. How freaking boring is this? And they never, I don't know, had any life outside of, like they had their home life, and then they had their school life, and they didn't seem to have anything else. So that's one thing I decided when I became a lawyer, because I know there are lawyers that do that too. They hang out and they go to every law function that there is, and they kowtow with the lawyers and socialize with the lawyers, and I thought, no friggin' way, I'm not getting into that routine. Been in that with the school thing, and not doing it again. And when we were also there, Neil was at Mount St. Joseph, which was basically an old folks' home.
Right.
Working there as an orderly, and it was the same thing. Like you'd go to things that, let's say they were having a Christmas party for the orderly from Mount St. Joseph, and that's all they did. They talked about them.
Well, I guess that's like these things online. Like it was really neat to get this little view into what it's like to be a nurse, but it was just like video blogs, just people just in front of their computers talking to their camera about nursing. That is obviously their whole life too.
Yeah, I suspect it's the same, that they kind of, when they get together, that's all they talk about, because that's all they've got in common.
Well, that's what I was thinking too, is like, I mean, it's been so long that I haven't had a job, and I'm so far out of the loop of any of this stuff. Like of the two sides, where if it was just working at like a grocery store, it just seems like such an incredible waste of time. But then something like that, like if I just like I don't want to just leap into something more in depth, because like what am I going to just go to nursing school all of a sudden and live this weird nursing life? Like I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about anything. So that's why I was thinking too, if I like volunteer at different places, that could be like I could get some kind of sense of what I actually like to do more. That's my thinking anyway. And then also I was thinking too just about how like just how the whole concept of kind of like apprenticeships or being shepherded through decisions is so gone in our society. Like, I'm just supposed to know what I want to do. I don't fucking know. How am I supposed to know? So maybe if I meet more people like that too, like if I find something that I like, and then I'll...
Yeah, maybe it'll open up some doors.
Yeah, and like know people. I mean, I guess they still say that, like connections are everything, but they say it in like this weird, creepy, like capitalist way. Oh, God, it's all about who you know. But of course it's all about who you know. It's always supposed to have been about who you know. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how society is supposed to work. And I feel like we kind of got away from that in North America. It's like weird. This like, you should be so self-sufficient, and it's like, well, okay, but I don't know how, so sorry. You know? I don't know. So that's my thinking about that. We'll see. But for now, at least I got the looking after the kids thing, which is cool. Like even that alone, just, oh man, it's almost like having a safety net. Like if you're a tightrope walker or something, it's like, well, it's only going to be at most like 2 more days before I at least go babysit some kids. Like it's not going to be another 6-day stretch of just angst in my stupid apartment. You know, just laying there. Well, I can't even describe.
Like kids, maybe your forte is working in daycare or something.
Yeah, maybe. See, that's another thing too. Is like I looked into that a bit, and it really is tough. Like it is such a change compared to just like, oh, I know some people that have some kids and I'll go babysit them, and then it's like, wow, like these long, intense programs and all this stuff.
Yeah, you gotta have all these credentials now.
And that's like what's weird too, is like I think I could fudge it if I was a woman. It would be not that big of a problem. It's just like, hey, I'm around, I can babysit, like I can make it into a thing. But as a guy, there's just no way. Like I absolutely would need all this stuff for anyone to ever trust me, you know?
Well, and especially with young children, there's kind of this thing out there that what guy wants to take care of young kids in a daycare situation? Must be pervert.
Well, that's the thing too, is I can't really blame people for feeling that way, because even if most guys are fine, if anyone's going to be a problem, it's going to be a guy. Like it is.
Yeah. There's
You know?
the occasional woman that's a little creepy like that, but no question, it's mostly guys who do it, or else it's guys that are caught.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is just a difference with how men are. It's just how it is. Like I would find it weird if someone didn't, you know, if someone, like I would almost be like neglectful to their kids if somebody just got me as a babysitter because they saw my number on a tree or something, you know, like what would that even, makes no sense. Whereas if you're a woman, it's fine. That's just how it works. But but again, it's like that's still like such a big plunge to take. So I guess just it works out nicely with Joel and his family because they need someone anyway, and they know me, so it's a thing I can do. But anyway, so again, this is loud as crap. So I suppose I should not blab too long because this is. Oh, that's one thing I wanted to tell you. I guess just to keep it as super boring as possible and as super pedestrian. I finally did some taxes.
Oh, did you? You'll be getting some money back then.
Yeah, well, I did the taxes from before I went to New York, so 2000.
2008, 2009.
Yeah, those must have been the years. Or I guess the years I was.
Yeah.
The years I was in New York, yeah, because I wanted to do them first to make sure I was doing it right. Because even though it's just a zero, it's still very weird and complicated. So and I got the paperwork back from that, and I got like. It's either $500 or $900. I'm not sure because I can't go back far enough in my bank statement online to tell for sure. And the paperwork they sent me back wasn't very clear. But I definitely got a chunk of money. But my computer also broke last night, so I got to go buy a new computer. But that's like, it's like $400. It's not the whole thing. But basically, as soon as it comes in, it's gone. But now that I know that I did those right, I can do the other 4 years, like 2010 through 14. So that's going to be a big chunk.
Yeah, well, you haven't earned any income.
Right.
But you will get all that HST money.
Yeah, so, just after all these many, many years of putting that off, I just, hey, look at that, I finally did it. That's the upside to just living by myself, is like there's just nothing else to do. There's no distraction. It's like just anything. What can I do? Maybe I'll do taxes.
Finally, Revenue Canada has found you a place where you have time to deal with them.
Yeah. Yeah, so I got the ideas too of like other random junk we could talk about. Like I said, I ordered those Tales of the Iroquois books and stuff, but yeah, maybe we'll save that for next time I call.
You should make yourself just a little list of things that we'll talk about, that we don't have a whole lot of dead space.
Yeah, and I was thinking too, I mean, this is like, we were recording like 20 minutes, and if I just do a couple little snips here and there, just times that the door was super loud or something, like I think that seems about good, like 20 minutes. Like, I don't know, I guess like I gave up a long time ago in thinking anyone would really care about my podcasts. Like obviously in New York, that was the podcast that was popular and everyone listened to, and all the stuff I do. I mean, and they're not all...
Listen, there's a thing I learned when I was teaching school, actually. And it basically came down to, you want to hold somebody's attention, you got 20 minutes to do it. If you can't grab them in the 20 minutes, then give up. So all these conferences and speeches that people go to where people drone on for like 50 minutes and that,
right.
You know what? It's droning. Just drone. It's nobody's listening anymore. That's why when they started semestering. Oh God!
Oh my God! Jesus.
Hey.
So loud.
That's why when they started semestering, when you guys were in school, I knew it was the biggest mistake anybody ever made to keep people sitting in a classroom for an hour and a half.
Oh yeah, that was insane.
Big mistake. Because you got to grab their attention, keep them for 20 minutes, and the old 40 to 50 minute thing worked great because the teacher taught for 20 minutes. You had 20 minutes to, I don't know, to have some little bit of feedback, whatever, or 10 minutes, and then 10 minutes to let them work on some stuff. Class ended. An hour and a half, you couldn't do it.
That's the other thing too. I was just thinking with like podcasts is like, I guess I kind of gave up that idea of the big super popular podcast. Like it's just more interesting to do little idiosyncratic podcasts. Like I know this is like kind of morbid, but maybe somebody would stumble across this and be like, oh, like I don't know, like my mom's dead or whatever. Like it's kind of neat to hear someone just blab to their mom. Like who knows? You never know.
You never know.
Yeah. All right, so I guess I'll talk to you. Yeah, we'll plan on next Monday then. Sounds like a good plan.
Because right now, if you keep this on, you're going to have just a bunch of dogs barking in the background. Everybody's going to think I'm working for the SPCA.
You know what we should try to come up with for next time, or I'll think of something, I don't know, is like we always find our podcasts are easier to end if we have a sign-off phrase, because then we know like that's it, and everyone should stop talking.
Okay. Well, come up with something good.
Like a catchphrase or something, yeah.
And it won't be barking dogs.
Yeah, and I'll try not to be by as many slamming doors. This might be the worst podcast that's ever been made. but you know, you got to start somewhere. Yeah,
got to start somewhere. Well, it was great being the subject of the first one from the Maritimes.
Yeah, and again, it's like whatever. It's just like we're just be blabbing anyway, so why not? Hey. Cool. All right. So I'm going to go. Actually, Brad also left me the keys to his apartment. So now I'm going to go hang out in his swanky apartment. So
okay.
Get out of my sucky apartment.
Signing off then.
All right. So I'll talk to you next week.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.